Welcome to another episode of Pound for Pound Boxing Report, episode 141. I'm your host, Michael. Joining me this week, Gail Falkenthal of Communities Digital News, Daniel Carpio of the Inscriber. What's going on, lady and gent?
Good evening. Good evening. Hi, folks.
Top of the morning to you.
It's the hardcore. It's the solid hardcore tonight, and I smell danger.
Indeed, and look,
or maybe that's just someone's hair being singed. I don't know.
Indeed. I think we're going to have some folks coming on later. They'll jump on later throughout the show. For those who are new to Pound for Pound Boxing Report, once again, Pound for Pound Boxing Report is a live YouTube show / podcast and blog that discusses all things boxing. The motto is: when boxing is good, we will talk about it. When boxing is bad, we will talk about it. Bottom line is, if it concerns boxing, we will talk about it. If you want to find all information regarding Pound for Pound Boxing Report, just check out the blog page. p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com is the link. You look to the right of the blog page, you'll find links to find Pound for Pound Boxing Report all over the interwebs, all over social media. Links to find us on YouTube, G+, Twitter, Facebook. Links to find the show on Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, Flipboard Magazine, where to find the Tumblr page, SoundCloud, iTunes, player.fm, as well as the email address, which is p4pboxingrpt@gmail.com. And before we get the show started tonight, I want to thank Francis and Joe from 4 Boxing. They did a profile of me and Pound for Pound Boxing Report. If you go to 4boxingnews.com, you scroll down, you can see the profile of yours truly in the Pound for Pound Boxing Report. So I want to thank Francis, who did the interview, in 4 Boxing News in general, for the profile. I really, really appreciate it. Let's get the show started by doing a recap of what went down this past week. Headline bouts Anthony Crolla defending his WBH lightweight title against former champion Jorge Linares. Linares went to Manchester, England, defeated Crolla by unanimous decision. 117-111 on one scorecard, 115-114 and 115-113 on the other two scorecards. I watched the fight live. Good bout, but in the end, you could tell that Linares was always a step ahead. The speed was superior. The skill set was just that little much better. Crolla fought hard throughout, but at the end of the day, it was just Linares was just at another level, really, from beginning to end. I'm gonna start with you, Gail. Ladies first. Your impressions of the fight.
You described it perfectly. And it was an interesting duel, and give Crolla credit for heart. And yeah, I called it for Crolla, so I'm going to admit that and get that out of the way right now. But it literally was like watching two people dancing to the same music, and one of them was just a step behind the whole time, and that was Crolla. Not that he was doing a bad job, just appeared slower, appeared to have less pop in this fight for whatever reason. And Linares was always where he needed to be at the right time and got out of the way before Crolla could chase him down. And that was really the story of the entire fight.
Your thoughts, Daniel?
It's essentially pretty much the same deal. You watched that fight, you knew Crolla's game plan. He tried to replicate the formula that he tried against Barroso, which is stalk, make Linares try to get tired a little bit, and ultimately hope that one of his good power punches, particularly a body shot, would ultimately land and end the night. That didn't happen because Linares was not Barroso. Like I said, I've said it before when people keep saying, like, when the lightweight division, trying to say somebody else is number one, like, did Linares die? I'm like, Linares is the best lightweight in the world for a reason, and he proved it. He maintained his stamina throughout. He landed real good combinations off the ropes to pretty much negate for much of what Crolla was trying to do and trying to bully in the hand. And it could have turned out differently. I'll give that. There's various reasons why it could turn out differently. But Linares, I think, changed the complete tenor of the fight in the 6th round. Crolla was winning that round pretty easily until Linares landed an overhand right that almost knocked Crolla into next week. If that round was probably 15 to 30 rounds longer, that fight would have been stopped right there. It changed the entire tenor of the fight, and it helped Linares like maintain the distance and maintain the stamina. I'm surprised actually that in the long career of Jorge Linares, he's never been 12 rounds. This was literally his first fight in 10 rounds.
Right.
Yeah, that was quite a stat, wasn't it? Really, really surprising. Yeah, that he's either taken his opponent down or he's gone down, one or the other.
Mm-hmm. But he showed he was fully prepared because he caught a second win around round 9, and he didn't slow down since. He got the right decision. Although I will say, I do agree with Paulo Malignaggi. There were a lot of smells that there was some home cooking being attempted. From the referee calling legal body shots, low blows, to one scorecard. I think the one person that is from England had the closest scorecard. There was an attempt at home cooking happening.
Well,
but luckily,
there was enough. Two of the scorecards were pretty narrow. I mean, one of them was 115, 114. That was your home cooking card. 115, 113, which, that's a little tight but fair. Then you did have a 117, 111 card.
That was actually, to me, the fair card.
See, I would have scored at 116, 112. Yeah. Crolla had his moments when Linares had a few pacing himself kind of rounds. So.
Yeah.
But
I think he rocked.
The right thing happened in the end.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, sometimes it's messy how you get there, but you get to the right place.
Yeah, I got that impression too of some possible home cooking. I was watching it live. I was watching it with others from the YTBC, Boxing Beats and Rhymes, EJ Boxing Live, now to Ben Umar and that crowd. And Beats was saying that from jump. And as the fight was going on, I can understand why he was saying that, because Crolla was doing enough to make it competitive so that you could think that, Linares is winning here, but you wonder would he get the decision. Indeed, he did. My thing about Linares, he can be kind of bipolar in a sense, up and down as a fighter. This is one of these nights where he was really up. And you can tell by the fact that when Crolla hit him with good shots, he not only stayed there, he fought back and put some punishment on Crolla and put some punishment back on Crolla, even hurt him. You mentioned the 6th round. You hurt him a couple more times in that bout. And I like the way that Linares finished. After round 9 or so, as Beats was saying, could Crolla get a decision he didn't deserve? But it was the way that Linares... mute your mics, please, because I'm getting some echo. It was the you too, Gail. I'm thinking. There you go. It was the way that Linares finished the last 3 rounds, 10, 11, and 12. He finished strong, particularly that 11th and 12th round. He sealed the deal. He closed the show. Like a real champion supposed to close the show. He showed championship qualities. And for me, that was the thing that was like, okay, he's going to get this fight. He's going to get this fight and perform very well in doing so. Maybe the best performance of his career. So that's what I really like, how Jorge Linares closed the show, if you will. I see Francis and Joe from 4 Boxing News is joining us. Unmute your mic, please. We're talking Jorge Linares and his win over Anthony Crolla. Francis and Joe, your impression of the bout and how the fight went in your eyes.
Well, it's just Joe tonight. Francis is a little sick.
Okay.
I actually really enjoyed the Linarez Crolla fight. It was I thought it was entertaining to watch. I thought Linarez looked pretty good. He with his speed and some of the combinations that he threw. And then I thought Crolla had some good moments. He put a lot of pressure on Linarez. That 6th round that they had was really entertaining. Crolla had moments where he was dominating, and then Linarez finished the round off real strong. To me, I really enjoyed that fight. I know there's a rematch clause, and it sounds like Linarez had a little bit of a hand injury. When that's done, they might have a rematch. And I enjoyed the fight, and I hope they do it again.
I will go. There you go. I'll go back to you. I'll just open it up for here, everybody. Daniel, Gail, Joe mentioned possibly a rematch. There's also a talk of a unification bout against the 135 WBC 135-pound champion. For Linares, where does it go?
I'm not sure a rematch is my first choice. It was entertaining, but it wasn't that entertaining. Gail, if he wants to go to 135, there's a lot of action there for him. He is going to need to go searching a little bit for opportunities. But I would hold Crolla aside almost as a fallback option at this point.
This is the interesting part of it. Like when I mentioned the home cooking, I kept thinking if you're going to get a rematch, you have to make sure that it's not in the UK. It has to be in the US or Venezuela. But when an artist, he'll go anywhere. He's fought in 6 continents. So he'll travel wherever he needs to go now. He could stay in the UK, try to take Terry Flanagan's belt, which I would fully endorse. Then there's also the new IBF champion, Robert Easter. He might try to go after him because he's a new champion. Or he might wait for the fight between Mikey Garcia and Zodichny to finally come off and just fight who was originally his mandatory. There's ways to go with Linares on this. The difference is going to be which promoter is going to have more of a say. Because you got to remember, he's signed by both Golden Boy and Taken Promotions. So it depends who has a bigger voice in his ear. I would personally try to go, if it was me, I would personally try to go after Easter. After I thought about it, me and Joe, like we discussed this last night, I would probably try to go after Easter. He's young. He'll bang. And it's a nice fight in the U.S. And like I said, it'll be a complete title unification. You'll literally have almost all the belts.
But I was going to say, but the problem is, you mentioned Easter. He is young, and there's still some room for improvement. If his promotional team was smart, could he compete with Linares? Could he beat Linares? Yes, but his profile needs to be up a little bit. And if I was his camp, I would suggest that for Easter to get him a couple of title defenses. Will PBC no more bouts in 2016? Maybe an HBO, maybe a Showtime could pick up his bouts, get him a couple of title defenses there, add to his profile before he goes into the likes of a unification bout with Linares.
That's the thing, though. Like, if I'm Linares, I'm going after that. I'm going after somebody that may not be as prepared. Because if you go Flanagan route, Frank Warren is going to try every which way to keep the fight in the UK. And if you thought you had him cooking with a Matchroom card, imagine the home cooking in a Frank Warren card, because he's been losing some champions lately. So he'll try to protect the ones he has. And he was really, really hoping on the Flanagan-Crolla hometown rivalry fight, and he didn't get it. We'll have to see, though, like I said, because it all depends on Linares whose promotional team is stronger. Is it the Golden Boy side or Mr. Honda?
Indeed. So let's move on to another bout. Donnie Nietes is a fighter that a lot of folks, even hardcore fans, geeks, have really been sleeping on. He's one of the best fighters around that nobody knows about. Former champion at both 105 and 108. Made his debut Saturday night in Carson, California, against former champion Edgar Sosa. Nietes winning by clear-cut decision, 120-108 on all three scorecards. I'm gonna go to you, Joe, and then you can follow up Daniel and Gail. If you saw the bout, your thoughts on how Nietes looked, and the question I'll have, and I'll ask this question of Daniel and Gail as well. With Chocolatito moving up, or he has moved up, with Gallo Estrada relinquishing his 2 belts to move up to 115. Could Donnie Nietes right now, even though he's only had 1 fight at 112, could he be considered right now the top flyweight in the world? That's for you, Joe, first off.
Well, I don't know if he could be considered one of the top yet, but possibly. I've actually followed Donnie Nietes for a while because Francis is Filipino, her dad's Filipino, and he loves Donnie Nietes. So he would have me come over and watch these fights for 5-6 years ago about Donnie Nietes, and I didn't know who he was, but I've been watching him for years now, and he's an exciting little guy. He's so small, but he's got a lot of power, a lot of speed. He's a talented boxer. I'm glad he came over here to the United States and got a little publicity here, because he's been a big star in the Philippines for years. And I didn't see the whole fight from this weekend, but I did see the highlights, and he looked the same Donnie Nietes that I've been watching for the last few years, with some speed and look good. Just a talented boxer. So I think I think he could probably do well here. He built up a really big fan base in the Philippines, and I don't know if I would consider him one of the best in the division yet, but he's got an opportunity to maybe become that.
Okay, your mic is a little bit choppy, Joe, so you may have to reboot and come back on quickly. I'll go to you, Daniel and Gail. Thoughts on Nietes? The reason I asked the question. Mute your mic, Gail. You can give an echo. Mute your mic, Gail. You can give an echo on your mic. The reason I asked Daniel is because when you look at the 112 landscape, you got Casimero, who has the IBF belt, who just stopped Rung earlier this summer. Casamero's strong, but I think Nietes would outbox him. He's much. When you look at Nietes and how smooth he is, how highly skilled he is, the intelligence he fights with, I believe he outboxes Casimero. You got Ioka, who has the WBA belt. That's a 50-50 belt. You got some top contenders down there. There's the Thai fighter, who I think will win the vacated WBC belt from Gonzalez, Rungsavai. He's very good. I think very highly of him, but he still has to prove it. So again, the question about Nietes, your breakdown of his fight last weekend against Sosa, as well as your thoughts on him vis-a-vis the flyweights.
That's an interesting proposition. They say that Nietes could be almost by default right now the best flyweight in the world. Because you just mentioned Casimero. Casimero won the belt pretty convincingly against Roy.
But he did it based off just athleticism and power. exposing the chin of Rong Roy. It wasn't the most skillful, aesthetically pleasing way in which he won that belt. And in the first knockdown, let's just face it, was a little bit of a lucky shot.
Oh no, nobody agrees that it wasn't with the help a little bit of lady luck. But I think part of me wants to see the little guys who already are champions being given more respect before somebody new comes in. Like, there's only certain exceptions. Like, Chocolatito's an exception. You could make an exception with him comparing him to the guys at 115. Estrada, he might be. But I could just see Nietes going into it, but being among the best already. Definitely. The problem, though, is it's a little bit long in the tooth.
Yes, I think he's in or around his mid-30s now, so yeah.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a lot of time left to fully establish himself. And what may actually wind up happening is he may never really get that one big shot against like an Estrada or against Chocolatito in the end. Which would be really sad, because if you look at career Nietes, he's had a pretty solid career. He's been very crowd-pleasing. The problem, though, is it's a question of, did he wait too long to make the move?
Your thoughts, Gail? Gail?
Gotta unmute those mics there. We're playing around with mics tonight. Sorry, guys. Nietes had a very solid performance. No real criticisms of it, except, let's remember that this version of Edgar Sosa that he was up against wasn't, Edgar at his prime. And this is also the Edgar Sosa post his complete takedown by Chocolatito. So I really would have expected Nietes to stop him, and he didn't. So it did raise a question mark in my head, which hopefully will be answered with the next fight, although the answer might not be yes, which is, that he's the best in the division. I think for his long-term plan, which sounds funny to say about a guy who's 34, he's 34, by the way, to confirm the age, I think it would be a very smart thing for him to cherry pick off one of the names that more fans know, because they were opponents for Roman Gonzalez, and that is McWilliams Arroyo, or why not bring out Brian Viloria? Those are two names that a lot of slightly more than casual fans do know. They both have fan bases. You could make a dandy fight with Arroyo if you wanted to do it on the East Coast. You have the Puerto Rican following. If you wanted to have a Filipino on Filipino showdown, although Viloria is an American, obviously he's Filipino heritage. So that, might be a fun fight. And, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I don't know what Viloria's plans are. Honestly, we haven't heard from him since he fought Roman, which, believe it or not, coming up to a year ago now. If he is intending to have any last fights, now's the time. And he's more or less the same age as Nietes. He's a tiny bit older. I think that'd be an interesting fight. And, there's some rising talent in the division that we could keep an eye on. But until then, Nietes needs to fight somebody. And what the heck? Why not pull out either Arroyo or Viloria? And I'd go see him fight Viloria in a heartbeat.
Going right back to you, Gail. On the undercard, it was a featherweight prospect by the name of Magsayo, who won. I saw him fight. I really paid attention for the first time. And after really focusing on it, I think he's a guy worth paying attention to. I think you mentioned him last week on the show. So I'm gonna give you the floor right now to talk about him more.
I did. Mark Magsayo has got a lot of people in the Philippines and fans of Filipino boxing, mainly due to Manny Pacquiao, very excited. So this was his debut. He was undefeated coming into that fight at 14-0 with 11 knockouts and 14 fights. But his first fight on American television, he fought a sort of typical, journeyman young Mexican boxer. I think of these Mexican guys as boxing cannon fodder, pretty much. Ramiro Robles. Credit to Robles, he hung in there. He had a sort of a never say die attitude. Magsayo tagged him more than once, kept coming. Magsayo showed some skills, but everyone could calm down about him being the next Manny Pacquiao. I could see why everyone would love to see it. He does have very impressive speed. His punches have snap on them, but he doesn't seem to be able to close. And I don't know if that is, I don't know what the issue was exactly. He looks good in the ring. He's a good looking young guy. I think there's still some raw talent. I think he could still surprise us. But I think if we compared video of Manny at this age against Magsayo, we'd see what the difference was. Nevertheless, he won the fight. He's still undefeated. He still has a very bright future in front of him. It's really up to him and his skills acquisition and his willingness to work at them that'll determine his future.
One more question, Bill, before we move on. How would you compare him to a Jojo Diaz?
Ooh, that's a very interesting question. Jojo has the fire that Magsayo lacks. And I don't think Magsayo's lack is in his hands. I think it's in his head. I just, you see certain guys that they will do whatever it takes to close the show. If they smell blood in the water, they just go crazy. They do not want a fight to go a minute longer than necessary. They're in it to win it. Magsayo was more in there to look good. And that's not the same thing at all. Diaz wants to make a statement every time he goes in. And sometimes he's a little rough about it, but he's getting better and better and better. And that's because he is focused on one goal every time he gets in the ring. That's the difference.
Okay, I see EJ Live has joined us. What's going on, brother? I'm going to give you time to catch up with us. Earlier, we talked about Linarez and his win over Crolla. We also talked about Donnie Nietes making his flyweight debut. I'm going to give you the opportunity now to give your thoughts on Linarez's win over Crolla. We watched it live with some others from the YTBC, as well as Donnie Nietes and his win over Edgar Sosa. Mute your mic, EJ. You there, EJ?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, man. Donnie Nietes. Yeah, man. It was a dominance, man. Donnie Nietes looked good. It's funny, though, because one thing about Donnie Nietes, he was down there and he was that dude. The moment all the competition left the division, here comes Donnie Nietes. Like a raven or like a Prada. I don't even know what to describe it as. Like, I know he's got international WBO belt, so he's looking to get probably, and in his next fight, the probably world belt. But it's like, man, like, if you're trying to be the best in these divisions, there's only a couple of weights. You could have stepped up and challenged yourself, against these guys. All of them have left. Chocolito's left, Juan Fresco's left, and he's moved up. But besides that, it was a dominance performance from Donnie Nietes. And he looked like he was comfortable at the weight. It's a shame that we didn't get them other fights. It was a long reign in at light fly. You know what I mean? It's a shame. But anyway, we'll have to see. But anyway, we've got that Thailand guy down in that weight, that 6'7" guy. He's around. He's shifting around. So hopefully he can try and make them fights down there. So yeah, but he looked very dominant. Donnie Nietes.
And your thoughts on Linares' win over Anthony Crolla?
Oh man, yeah, Linarez is my boy, man. Linarez, man, looks so good. He looks so good. Like I mean, in the early rounds, Crolla, that Crolla was not the Crolla I expected. That Crolla actually really did try. But when he realized it was about levels, Linarez turned it up, and that was the first time Linarez actually been 12 rounds.
Yeah, it just seems like Linarez was just a level above throughout the fight from beginning to end.
All the experience. He's been in against the best. And the Crolla coming in. They got this thing over in the UK, this thing about tucking up and taking punches. Like, what the frick? I mean, it's stupid. All right? Joe Gallagher from England goes to Freddie Roach's, to learn boxing. He's basically just learning to just take punches for a bit and come back. But all Freddie Roach's fighters, they're very good moving their head usually, like Pacquiao, Cotto, and they've got like exceptionally punches. But they've got this thing in England called tucking up. That's what we call it. Walking with like Liam Smith. And that's a Joe Gallagher thing. Imagine training of the year, walking with your hands up, taking a couple, taking 4 to give 1. It's madness. And if you had power, you'd do it. But Crolla did pretty well. What Crolla should have done is this UK slang, called chip and slip. Yeah, chip what it means is like, chipping away, and slip, right? That's what he should have did, chip and slip. But what he was doing, it was catching. He was catching for Linarez. Linarez worked that stick up and down the body, right hands, hooks. Linarez just basically used his whole repertoire on Crolla. And then they're asking, the scorecards were disastrous. That score says wasn't good representation of the fight. And they're talking about rematch. It made me laugh though when they were talking about rematches. Where Eddie was like really, really, what's the words? Enthusiastic about the rematch. And then they had a camera with the collar, and Collar was looking up in the air. Made me laugh my head off. He's like, I gotta go through this again for 12 rounds. So it was hilarious in that. But hey, Linarez done it good, man. It'd be some good fights to see if Linarez go against some of them other guys, Easton, Kwame, and some of them other guys, But Linarez, with all the experience, they call him the Golden Boy, and he showed up. He's gonna do another fight with Crolla. Crolla be lucky if he don't get stopped in the rematch, but it is what it is. And it was a good all-round. People who from the UK, by the way, saw Crolla for the first saw Linarez. I mean, they see Linarez get thing, but a lot of people saw it on this card, right? Because it's in Manchester. They really, really do like Linarez. They thought, oh, that guy's class, man. They like Linarez, man. So Linarez has won a couple of fans, and people in the UK want to see Linarez again. So overall, it was a good night of boxing. Nietes needs to he needs to fight somebody. It'd be nice. It's all right having 15 defenses, but you might end up like Chris John and then like Spinupka. You know what I mean? The guys who got these records, but no one cares about them because they didn't fight like really good competition when they were in their prime. So it was a good fight night.
I must go right back to you, EJ. We're going to go into the news. We hear about this issue with Tyson Fury. He pulls out of the fight with Klitschko a few months ago. Now he recently pulled out of the fight with Klitschko again. You hear an interview. I read an interview with his trainer Peter Fury talking about it may not be just a physical thing. It may be some mental, psychological things, emotional things with Tyson Fury. Since you over there in the UK live right now, I'm gonna go to you first, EJ. What's the word with Tyson Fury? Is it emotional things he's going through right now, not just the physical thing?
The word on the street, and if they go by evidence, let's go by evidence. He was at the Crolla Linarez fight, and no one messed with him. Remember, he's 6'9". He was there. There was video footage of him. There's nothing wrong. He didn't like he was crazy. He was dressed up. He came to support. Crolla, and he left the base, and no one interviewed him. No one bothered him. Remember, again, he's 6'9", right? And then all of a sudden, these reports have come out. He's mental, this, that, the other. But no one's seen him. No one's seen him. My opinion, right? My opinion. Just going by like what I've heard and all these things. I've met the guy. He's upset, right? That basically he was under contract with Klitschko that he couldn't fight, and Klitschko couldn't determine when he could come back and that. And I think these things upset him, and his outbursts, right, about, you know, homosexual, Jewish people, and them sort of things, yeah, have come back to bite him in terms of the drugs. I'm just talking conspiracy. I'm not sure if this is fact though. Again, it's my opinion. And I think all these things on top of him has probably got on top. But when I met him, he was a jovial, loves his family, has a great time all the time. Remember, bearing in mind, he pulled off the first fight with Klitschko, and you saw him partying watching the England game. You see what I'm saying? And the pattern again, it's like they say he's mad and he's turning crazy, but you see him at the Crolla Linarez fight. I mean, what is it? If he's crazy, I mean, if you're mad and you've got mental problems, do you go to a boxing thing all dressed up, looking smooth? You know what I'm saying? Basically, he's just trying to keep a low profile, and basically the people around him putting all these spins out, because to be honest with you, Tyson said he had enough. He said it multiple times that I've had enough. Sometimes I feel like fighting, sometimes I just want to jack it in. And I asked him, right, face to face, off camera, when I met him, how do you feel about being heavyweight champion? This is amazing. He goes, I don't really care. Me, I go, what do you mean you don't really care? It's nothing to me. I go, this is your goal you've wanted from time. Yeah, I goes, no, I've got it now. It's nothing to me. And that says it all. He just don't really care. And, you know, he doesn't really care, and the money and all that stuff and that, so he doesn't really care. But the word on the street is that this mental thing, he's got the court case coming up pending. You know, they want to see his mental state. So we'll have to wait and see. But like I said to you, mate, it might be all smoke and mirrors, and Tyson's playing it just to give some time to mess up Klitschko's schedule, because I talked to Mr. Bashir, and he told me Klitschko was proper upset. He was upset about not fighting Tyson because he's messed him up. And now they're talking about the Joshua fight, and Eddie Hearn, right? And I was at the York Hall today, by the way. I saw Eddie Hearn, yeah. He's trying to get Klitschko. He's trying to get Fury stripped so he can get the belts with Joshua and have a mega fight and make mega money. So that's what he's pushing for. By the way, on my channel, I'm uploading a great fight, right? Today was Wladimir Camacho versus Isaac Chamberlain at York Hall. Listen, got radio commentary, but you'll feel like you're there. Trust me. It's a great thing. But like I said, we addressing what you just said, the word on the street is that he's balmy. But some of the stuff I pointed out, I beg to differ.
How did he look physically? How did he look physically?
If Michael, there's footage on YouTube. You have a look for yourself. There's nothing wrong with him. There's nothing wrong with him. It's just the same thing when England game when they said his foot was messed up. He was there buying everyone around in the pub.
Yeah, I need to check that out. I just wanted to see, did he look grossly out of shape? Did he look in shape?
He was dressed up very smart in a nice, beautiful suit, sitting there on his phone, talking to whoever he was talking to, maybe his wife, watching the boxing. And the thing is, again, Michael, he's 6'9". You're not going to walk up to him, can have a picture or a camera when he's not, when everyone, the people just leave him in Manchester. No one's going to walk up to Tyson Fury and talk shit. You remember, he'll knock you out. So people just leave him, just do what he does. If you know, he doesn't want no interviews and nothing like that. Remember, his uncle's 6'7", and his brothers are like 6'6", 6'6", and that. You know, they're big men. You know, it's not the sort of people you can just roll up and talk shit to. He looked fine. There's not, to me, nothing wrong with him. Didn't look mental or anything. And exactly like I said to him, he likes to have fun. He likes to talk shit, and it suits Tyson. You lot thinking he's nuts. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm talking about. I've actually talked to him. He doesn't mind if you lot think he's nuts as long as you leave him alone. That's Tyson in a nutshell, in my opinion. From what my 2 hours or say let's say hour and a half conversation with him, and observing him for a while in the whole day, because I was there for the Blackwell and Eubank weigh-in, and then after he went to lunch and I was there, and Ingram Jones from Baylor TV interviewed him. I was there watching, listening that, and I interviewed him after, and that we had a good half an hour, 45 minutes conversations. That's quite a lot of time to spend with the undisputed champion, or should I say unified champion. So that's my assessment of him. He's all right. I'm
going to open it up for everybody else here, based on what EJ is reporting. Contrast that to the reports and the interview with Peter Fury and whatnot that was leaked. Your thoughts on Tyson Fury and this whole situation? Anybody can jump in and respond.
You know, I'm going to jump in and respond. You know, Fury has made no secret of the fact that, as EJ rightly said, some days he likes boxing, some days it's the last thing he wants to think about. Now, he He has very mercurial moods where that's concerned. You know, sometimes he trains, sometimes he doesn't. You know, we've known a lot of guys in the sport like that. They have talent. They get some improbable victories like this, you know, more from luck than preparation sometimes. But boxing is way, way too difficult for you to excel at this sport without fully applying yourself. And if your heart isn't in it, you know, not only should you not be there, you know, simply from a performance point of view, but it's damn dangerous. It is very dangerous to be in there and not be fully focused. And if he's got a lot of stuff going on outside the ring, he's good, distracted, he's drinking, he's this, you know, it seems to me that you could legitimately, as a promoter or a trainer, say that your fighter has mental health issues if all it is that he's not fully got his head in the game, and you don't want his head to be knocked off. So I'm not sure it's anything more than that. And EJ, I saw him ringside of that fight. You know, he was being shown on camera, not close. People were keeping their distance. I think there was a lot of respect being shown to him and the announcement. You know, folks were sort of steering clear. And if there was a little bit of fear there, okay, fine. I mean, what do you expect? It's kind of interesting given the discussion we're having in the United States about people with mental health issues versus law enforcement, you know, which is the backdrop of a lot of social issues right now. What do people think someone with mental health issues looks like? They look like the guy you look at in the mirror every day. They look no different. So, you know, just looking at him isn't really going to tell us what's going on.
Okay, I see Scorsese has joined us. Unmute your mic. Your thoughts on the situation with Fury, and then we can go to Joe and Daniel.
Gail just, I didn't think she was gonna touch it, and then she did in the very end there when she said people with mental health issues, what do they look like? I know a lot. You know, I have degrees in psychology, and you, like she said, she hit the nail on the head right away. It's not what they show you in the movie. It ain't. It's not, man. Some of these things, some people can sit around you. It's their mind. You can't see in their mind until you see their actions. That's the only time you can get there. And sometimes the only people that can help themselves is themselves, because they self-help themselves, because we don't understand. We don't go through what they go to. And I also want to add, if you have to be a boxer, you take a job to take punches in your face daily. Something already got to be a little bit skewed in you from the normal person. Even if you want to be like an officer or something like that, it's something already there.
Yeah, there's what's the saying? If you want to be a boxer or an NFL player, there's a bit of a screw loose already to begin with.
Exactly, I gotta 100% agree, man. And you know, I've joked with Tyson Fury in the Wladimir fight with the Z's, but you know, making Z noises and snoring when the fight come up. But you know, I'm not feeling sorry for Wladimir Klitschko. I'm looking at Tyson Fury and saying, you know, these diseases, they don't just sit on anyone. They don't just pick low income places or middle. They get you anywhere. You can be anywhere doing having these problems, and it's just flat out, man. It's a sad thing for him, his family, if that's really true. They don't take no size. It's nothing about macho. Everybody brain is about the same size. It ain't about him 6'9". His brain is about his biggest mind, big as everybody's on him. And that runs his world, and anybody else is having those issues that runs their world. It may not be real to the next person, but if it's an issue for them, they're gonna find a way. They might be able to deflect it off of them in public, but at home, you never know how many days they are, you know, shot up under their covers and, you know, just missing the shower, missing the brush teeth, different things, man. So, you know, really hope that man the best. And if fighting ain't the thing for him, then I can totally understand that. But I hope him the best regardless. That's crazy. I'm very shocked by that.
Joe from 4 Boxing News and Daniel.
Yeah, well, when I heard it was mental health issues, you got to feel for the person, and I think it is a good decision if he's got if he's not in the right frame of mind, that's the hurt business. If you go in there and you're not mentally ready, you can get really hurt. So I think it's a good decision not to go forward with the fight. And with Tyson Fury, he's actually talked about depression and some of that stuff even before the fight last year with Klitschko, and he's talked about it for the last couple of years. And he does goofy things, and I know a lot of people aren't going to feel a lot of sympathy for Tyson Fury because he says some racist and homophobic things, but it does seem like he's got a lot going on with some allegations about PED usage, and it just seems like it's a good idea to not go forward with the fight. When hopefully he gets everything straightened out and gets back in the ring. Because with the mental health issues, like Scorsese said, like he could look fine. He could show up at the Crolla fight and look fine, but you don't know what's going on when he's at home, and you don't know what's in his head. So at the end of the day, boxing is just a sport, and you hope that as a person he gets right, and hopefully we see him back in the ring.
Daniel?
Yeah, me and Joe went actually a good while when it came to this last night. Me, Joe, and Francis, when they started thinking about it, because I pretty much touched like every single base that we talked about. Like EJ mentioned, this could literally just be a fact of Tyson Fury or the Fury team just seeing that the fight's not selling that well. They're actually, you see the prices, they're charging Vegas prices for this fight. And maybe it's not selling that well, or maybe Fury's out of shape and then need more time. But if that's the case, you pick the wrong excuse to do so if it's mental health, because mental health is not something that should be used as a silly little
Selling
step
point.
to get more. Yeah.
Selling point. No.
Yep. And that's the thing. You can't use it. And it's something that, well, let's go into the situation when they first announced this. When they first announced that the doctor said he was medically unfit. Naturally, now the WBO and the WBA now want proof. Like WBO has put a 10-day deadline on Tyson Fury to produce what his health is, or he's going to get stripped. The WBA apparently has asked for his records twice already. And then Peter Fury jumped back in trying to say, oh, no, he'll be back in 2017. Watch, don't strip him of the belts. You can't say that if you're saying somebody has mental health issues. Mental health is not something you can put a timetable on. It's something that can haunt you for maybe a few months or maybe even the rest of your life. So it's not something to be played with. And now, honestly, like I said, just looking at the man, yeah, you see the videos where he's looking fine, but yeah, there's a lot of people that look perfectly fine, but you don't know their demons inside of them. You also don't know like how Tyson feels when regards to situation, because think about his journey now. Since winning the title, he became the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. And he saw his rocket almost be eclipsed immediately by a young kid named Anthony Joshua. To the point where if you have an arena in Manchester that Tyson Fury, you're having trouble sell, if Anthony Joshua announces that he's fighting Joseph Parker in that same arena, it'll sell out that day. So maybe he's seen that as well. That's maybe affecting him as well. And that goes into depression. That's why I understand the business aspect of it. If you want to say that, oh, this is just Fury's team trying to buy more time. But if you're going to do that, do something else. Don't pick on mental health, because mental health in general is not something you can play with. People try to play with it, or people tend to misunderstand it. And then we have situations like we have, like right now, there's like 2 or 3 situations right now recently in the U.S. involving police officers and people with problems in mental health gunned down.
killed it.
It's not something to be played with. Yeah, it's not something to be played with.
Indeed. You was going to say something, Scorsese?
I know.
Okay. Yeah, I've been a critic of Fury in the past, and justifiably so for some of the things he said. But these stories are true regarding him. Yeah, I don't mind the layoff because he got to get his situation dealt with first. Get your mental and your physical right before thinking about returning to the ring, because this is the same Fury who has said in the past, if I'm champion tomorrow, I don't care. If I die tomorrow, I don't care, or something to that effect. So as much as I've been a critic of him, I want him to get that situation dealt and himself fully, healthy is the wrong word, get his situation settled, his life first and foremost. That's the important thing more than it is a belt. Damn a belt. With that being said, the WBA, WBO thinking of stripping him, and as a result of all this, now going back to you, EJ, there's been talk of, as a result of all this, should he be stripped and whatever, of a possible Anthony Joshua Vlad Klitschko bout in November. Eddie Hearn's talking about it. If the fight's available, we'll take it right away. Am I wrong here, EJ, for being skeptical about all of this, a possible Klitschko Joshua bout so soon?
Nah, you're not. And the thing is, I was talking about it with Beats and some of the other guys, and I was saying, which fight would be good? And I said, the Klitschko fight. We go, why would the Klitschko fight? Well, he hasn't got an opponent, and Joshua's there and wants an opponent. Joshua's the champion. Klitschko's the challenger, and if he wants to get all the belts, he might as well start now, make a mega fight, make a lot of money. Why not take that fight? Another thing, the reason why the mental issues come out with Fury. Now, you must admit, like Eddie, look, you're dealing with Frank Warren, right? Frank Warren never gets his hands dirty. So, all right, I know Frank Warren, who said stuff about Derek Chisora, they an injury to his hands. For the I think it was one of these fights, told Derek to do this, and Derek, and this is just like I've heard, right? That actually no, maybe not use Derek. I'll use another one. Vivian Harris said had something on his brain, because when Vivian Harris came over, they realized he was dangerous, right? And they said no, have a scat scan. They saw a shadow and said there's something wrong with him. So they tried to damage his career. Obviously, Vivian went back. And he's been fighting since. I think he's going to be fighting next month. So Frank Warren is known for this. No, now, if you say a guy's got mental health, then the sanctioning bodies ease off because it looks really bad for them to retain the belts. And it gives more time, and it also makes Klitschko older. Going back to the Joshua situation, Eddie Hearn wants the belt stripped so he can make enough money with Klitschko. And Joshua, if Joshua's going to get Klitschko, it's the best time. Klitschko's been out of the ring for a long time, so it stays in his favor. But these are all negotiations. They're talking burn, whatever. Klitschko's manager, trainer, whatever, K2, whatever, or K1, whatever. And they're in serious talks. But Eddie Hearn was in serious talks with Kell Brook and Amir Khan. What did he say? He said it's nearly done. He said, Eddie Hearn, brother, he does these things, you know. So you never really know with Eddie Hearn until we see the date and everything. But there is a date, and Joseph Parker's fighting this weekend, so we want to see how he does. But I like Joshua even anyhow. And Klitschko's just there. Like I said, Mr. Bashir is he, you know, I told him they should take the Joshua fight. So they're trying to work hard. Either way, whoever Klitschko's face, he's gonna lose to Tyson Fury, he'll lose to things. So these are the rumors of being put out there. But there is a date. November the 26th is a date in I believe in Manchester. And so that's they're actually looking at that date. Or they're looking next year summertime for a mega fight in the city. But to be honest with you, it don't need a mega fight. You just need these guys to get in the ring and let's get it on, man.
Daniel, Scorsese, and then Gail, your thoughts on all this?
Am I putting the UK together when I think I felt like I read that Tyson Fury was they first came out and said hurt inspiring. Like, oh, am I thinking of Eubank? But I feel like I've seen it for both. It's both, right?
You know about anything about that, EJ?
Yes. I think I saw it.
He's talking about a story. Yeah, that's you're talking about that. Eubank was hurt in sparring. That's why he didn't defend the English belt. So it's talking about Eubanks.
No, I remember. I feel like I remember seeing one. Now I'll try to look. I feel like I was seeing one with Tyson Fury where they say he's unfit because of injury happened in sparring, and then after that, it was shocking.
That's the leg. That was the leg. You're talking about the leg, the ankle injury, yeah.
No, I'm talking about this fight, not the one before. I'm talking about this fight hit, the one that just got called off. I saw they said he was unfit because of an injury, and I'm thinking to myself like,
ankle injury. That's the ankle injury. That's the ankle injury got pulled off the first time, and because that's the one that pulled off the first time, and this one they pulled it off and trying. This is something to say. You guys are gullible, man. They're pulling this one off trying to say he's got mental health issues. That's hilarious. That one's the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. It's hilarious.
If a person is saying stuff like it could be funny,
it's not him. It's not him. It's not him. It's the promoter.
No. But what Mike said, like Mike said, when he said he's talking about he don't care if he live tomorrow. He don't care about this. He don't care about.
I've heard him say that. I've heard him say that.
Yeah, I know. He says. But the thing is, you're talking to a guy who said, "I'll lick that clip." Yeah, talking about Klitschko, and another guy say, "You guys need to save yourself and go follow Jesus." You know what I mean? I mean, what we doing?
Yeah, that's but what you explained was if you don't know it, when you saying he was sitting at the ring and he looked good, and what they explain, what some people think, you essentially explain what could be bipolar disorder. If you don't know that.
Let me tell you something. The statement's coming out. The statements are coming out. For those who don't know, it's not Tyson talking. These are his manager and promoter. They're the ones putting the statement. Tyson talks for himself.
But I haven't heard a statement that it's mental disorder. I've only heard fans. I haven't heard that from him nor his promoter. I've heard that just
Mick Hennessy put the statement out. That right, this is what they do. This is what managers and promoters do. They do that. They put that, and Tyson just has to bite the bullet. This is what they do. But if you ask Tyson, there's nothing wrong with me. I told him to say that, so I'm gonna buy more time. I just want to go spend time with the family and shit. I'm telling you, bro. That's how these people are bad. You guys jump. This is what I'm gonna say. This is what you're dealing with.
But here's the thing.
If you sat with the guy like I sat with the guy.
But I was getting to that. If you say that, if this happens, okay, if you feel it's hilarious, when it ain't hilarious, is like when we don't believe it, and somebody walks into the man room and they stow up and open pill bottles and things like that going on in the situation.
You're crazy.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like the dude. What you don't get? What I'm saying is this. Hold on. What I'm saying, hold on. I'll let you go. Hold on. And he says, like Michael said, the man talking about, I don't care about living. I don't care about this. It takes a person to even think those things, to say those things. Normal people, for the most part, don't think about their existence until they're reminded about mortality.
And for me,
isn't even reminded about mortality, and he's speaking about, I don't even care if I live.
Right. You could have a bit of both, EJ. Wait a minute, EJ. You could have a bit of both. Yeah, you can have the promoter and doing all that they do, but when a fighter says that specifically himself, and not based on what the promoter told him, when he has said that in an interview, that's a little bit cause for Paul. Yes, he has. He has.
Listen. Okay. Listen to this, right? What are we dealing with? Fighters are fighters. They fight to the death. They could die in the ring. That's what they could do. They could actually die. They're gladiators. That's what they are. They don't mind dying. Yeah, right? I've been around him. I've been around his uncle, and I've been around his wife. His wife, fucking pulls the trousers. I've been around her, man. I've been around his family. There's no fucking way this dude's taking no drugs. Taking no drugs, mental health shit. There's no way. Like, I'm telling you, man.
A lot of patients don't take. A lot of people
I'll let you talk. Though.
Yeah, let him speak. Let him get his piece out.
I'm not. Look, you. Everyone has their opinion. I'm not gonna shut down your observation, your opinion from what you've heard. But you sit with the people and his family. They're travelers, right? They don't believe in going doctors to take no pills. Do you know that? I don't think none of you know that. You're dealing with travelers. They don't go to the doctors. They don't go to the doctor. They believe in remedies, herbal remedies to deal with their illnesses. Right? This is the people you're dealing with here. You see what I'm saying to you? So when these rumors are coming out, in our rational mind, it's this sounds really bad. But in their mind, they're playing you like the violin. This is what I'm saying to you, man. You have to sit there. If you understand, because you guys don't understand how travelers work. They don't do the stuff that we do, right? And fighters are gladiators. So when we talk about dying and stuff, that's natural because fighters, they believe that I'll die in the ring 1 minute, they flip 1 minute and another. That's natural. But I've been around his wife. He's very forceful, yeah, and making Tyson do this, do that, and all he cares about is his kids and his family and his cousin Huey. All he cares about and his dad. Fight at that time because his uncle died. That's all they care about. All the other stuff is coming out. It's coming out from Mick Hennessy, right? Said, fuck it, we need to do something. Let's put out this statement. Mick Hennessy or Frank Warren, because they're trying to save the situation because Tyson probably freaking can't bother to fight because he's bloody out of shape and he just wants to have fun. They're trying to say, listen, mate, you need to get back in the ring. Because, all right, I'll try and train. They're trying to prolong as long as possible. And that's all this is about, man. And if you guys jump into that he's in a mental hospital and he's all doomed up, yeah, then, okay, fine. If I'm wrong, then I was wrong. But I don't think so. So that's just my opinion in it. But you guys want to go off on a tangent and try and talk like with doctors, then that's up to you. But it's a boxing show. And I've been around that 1 minute. I've been around the boxers, yeah, to understand that boy. And these people, travelers, yeah. Billy Ho Saunders is another one. Look at him. I see Golovkin on the other side of the ring. We should cross the road. The next minute, he said, "I'll fight him." I'm telling you, man, you're being played, but it's all good though. I like everyone's opinion. That's the good thing about the show.
Two points.
Continue, Michael.
2 points. Real quick to that. 2 replies for me, just real quick. As far as people medicating and not medicating, it's plenty of people that's sick that won't take medication. They won't go to doctors. That right there kind of thrown out the window. And as far as culture, I got a theory that when you're in the media so much, the culture you are, the upbringing you got, it basically not the upbringing, but what you are, it don't mean nothing because now the media is the culture. That's the culture you're gonna relate to because you're gonna be seen by your culture and everybody else culture from this one culture that is media. So I mean I don't really think what he is it means nothing on what he has to be when it comes to the media and everything. I really think this could be serious for the man. I hope we don't nobody underplay it because you feel, you know, I'd rather feel bad. I'd rather look at it and say, wow, I was wrong. He's great. Then I look and say, wow, I was wrong. He's messed up.
And I'll just quote him saying this: "I'm still sick as ever, still as depressed as life can be, and still don't really care if I die in any second of the moment. That's the way my life is." He said that to Box Nation. So I'm just quoting what he said.
Mm-hmm.
There's the point. Well, the whole point about this is that, okay, if you're gonna play this game where, like I said, even me and Joe pretty much thought for a minute it was this game where, okay, Fury's just out of shape, or they're overpricing the fight, so they need something to rebuild it again. Why not do this? Don't use mental health. Like, don't use something that, first of all, you can't have a certain timetable when to come back, because that means you're definitely now having to have your cake and eat it too. Because you can't tell sanctioning bodies, I have this issue, let me hold the belt hostage.
1 minute. Did he not come to the press conference wearing a Batman uniform? Yes or no?
Yes, but he didn't try to claim to be. He didn't try to claim to be a fight to be crazy though.
So when the promoters think of a lie, and remember this is a lie, in my opinion, not necessarily a fact, in my opinion, right? You can people think you're mad, let's go with that one. Doesn't matter end of the day, it's boxing. As long as you get back in the ring and they perform, no one's going to remember this stuff. People saying to Mike Tyson, didn't Roman Gibbons say about Mike Tyson? He's anti-depressive, Mike's mental state. Everyone knew he was a bloody mad. Like you guys, yeah, right? You don't know travelers. You're from America, and I'm giving you my perspective, not necessarily like how it is. It's just that I've met the guy, and I understand. I met the family. I met them, yeah, and I know traveling people. Not. Have you seen Snatch? Have you seen Snatch? Any of you seen Snatch, or have you seen Snatch with thing? You see how they are. You see how shy they are. This is what I'm trying to say.
No, I don't know
anything. They use anything to their advantage to get to get over. Remember, the longer they play out, the worse it is for Klitschko, because he has no control. He has no control and nothing they can do. They can't sue the guy if he's got mental health. That's all this is about. It's about contract leverage. That's all this is about, man. Like, you can't.
Well,
sue
if
the guy
no, it could burn both ways too. Because, like I said, right now you just had the WBO put out a 10-day timetable saying you better show us what this is.
They can say
and
whatever.
we're going to strip the
I don't
belt.
care. It doesn't matter if they lose the belt. He's still the champion. And I said it to him when I met him as well. Because why are you waiting for? Why haven't you fought? I said to him directly, why haven't you fought? Because, well, I can't fight. It's like the contract Hassan Lewis had Hassan Ratman. I go, so what? Just give up the belts then, innit? They go, no, I can't give up the belts because I'm going to miss the payday. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is what you're dealing with. So now, if they give it the belts, now listen, if one belt goes, so he's still going to make a lot of money still. If the sanctioning body's going to lose out, even if they strip him of all the belts, people still want to see Tyson. He still makes money either way. He does. I don't see him in a situation where it's a lose-lose, unless he is really mad, and then we can say like Ikabuchi, and then we can say, and then it's over, innit? But up until that point, mate, I'll hold out because I met the guy, talked to the guy, I understand how some people are thinking. Remember, none of us are doctors to be diagnosing someone that none of you have met. You're just hearing rumors. All of you are hearing rumors. I've actually met the guy, you know what I'm trying to say? And these people just dodgy with it, you know what I mean? So, hey, look, you saw David Haye about him and he's pulling out about his bloody shoulder and shit. You've seen it, man. This is what happens regularly in boxing. They pull out, they do little things to mess the other guy's head up. So that's just my opinion. If you guys want to roll with it, hey, go ahead, be my guest.
Okay, we're having a difference of opinions here. Let's go back on to, and we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one and keep it moving. Let's get back to the possibility of a Joshua Klitschko bout, and I'm just going to open it up for everybody here in the panel and the hangout. Your thoughts? Open up your mics, everyone.
It ain't happening. Just because of the situation that's happening right now. Like I said, if the WBO and the WBA strip Tyson Fury the belts, the WBA's tendency is to give the belt back to the former champion. So in this case, they give it back to Klitschko. Klitschko is a man that hate it or love it, he honors his mandatories. He technically has a mandatory with Alexander Ustamov right now, if that's the case. So he'll have to fight Ustamov. And then he has to fight whoever the WBA decides has the regular belt, whether it's Lucas Brown or Freza Quendel. There's that aspect. But then here's another one. And this is, to me, is just as juicy. Me and Joe talked about this last night. The idea of making the fight with Joseph Parker a title unification. Because the WBO is looking to see if they strip him, to make a fight between Joseph Parker and Andy Ruiz for the vacant WBO title. Parker loses his IBF mandatory status, but if he beats Andy Ruiz, which is a very, very likely chance, you could make that a huge payday now within Joshua and Parker. And it's not exactly going to be a fight that's uneven. You have two champions, young kids who in many ways are still learning. And while Klitschko's tied up in his mandatory, well, guess who's going to be waiting? Deontay Wilder for a fall payday. But it mainly all depends what the WBA is going to do. If the WBA decides to keep the belt with Fury, why not? Yeah, then if you're Klitschko, why not? Why not go after Joshua at this time?
Gail, Joe Scorsese, your thoughts on the possibility of a Joshua Klitschko bout?
Well, there's no doubt it's intriguing. I love it. I think for all of us, we feel it's maybe a little premature. And, you know, the Fury fight aside, and even the rest of Klitschko's career aside, you know, we all need to look at the clock ticking. Klitschko is 41 years old. How much longer is he going to be willing to mess around with the mandatories and the Ustinovs and all the usual game playing of boxing. He talks, very confidently about sticking around, about making things right for himself, settling the division down, so that he can make an exit. I'm just not sure he can do it before the clock runs out. So he's got to be ruthlessly practical about what's the best, essentially, exit strategy for him. I'd love to see him fight Joshua. I just wish it wasn't looming on the horizon, I guess.
Joe Scorsese.
Yeah, I agree. I'd love to see Joshua and Klitschko fight. I'm skeptical about whether it would really happen. But I think a fight like that would be fantastic for the heavyweight division, because now we really have some stars in the heavyweight division, and all the boxing fans, we want to see them fight each other. We want to see Joshua and Wilder. And if Klitschko Joshua, to me, that would be a fantastic fight, but I'm not going to get my hopes up because I'm pretty skeptical and that it won't happen, at least not in November.
Okay, Joe, your mic is sounding really bad, so you might have to log off or reboot and come back on, because your mic is sounding progressively worse as the show goes along. So you might have to reboot and come back on in a little bit. Scorsese, thoughts on a possible Fury Klitschko bout?
Joshua Klitschko.
I'm sorry.
Eddie Hearn, somebody did say it was official. I think the UCN network, I think they jumped the gun. They really didn't jump the gun. They said that hearing is close to done, and other people saying it's not even started. Other fights was announced, like Walters, Lomachenko, and I'll be honest, I'm more excited there. Some reason the heavyweight division is like just sitting down on me right now. Oh, that was a fake UCN account. Okay. Oh, Daniel just told me that in the chat. Didn't know that. I did retweet it. I want to like the heavyweight division. I wanted to pick up the things happening with the top champion are hindering it. And you see these other divisions really, really meshing, and they getting pound for pound level fights. Not only division supremacy, but in my mind, pound for pound level. And heavyweight, it ain't there. You got one champion getting Rise took out his hand every time he fights. Got Tyson Fury dealing with the issues we spoke about. Wladimir Klitschko rapidly aging. Didn't look like he even needs to fight again in the last bout, and that was going on a year ago. I think the first one was in November when they gave all us NyQuil. Joshua, Joshua's the only one, but people are asking why his opponents are named after countries and they not even spelled like the country. They basically are shitting on anything he does. I think he's under 25. So that division is like 154 to me. It's like hot, but it's like, man, okay, are y'all gonna ever look eye to eye with each other, weigh in? Are y'all even ever gonna weigh in next to each other? Not even get in the ring. So I mean, like everybody else says, skeptical, but if it happens, it'll be a plus for that division.
I heard you within your soliloquy talk about Walters and Lomachenko. I was going to go to you talk about that, but I'm going to give you some time to build up for that because I know you got a lot of opinions about that. I'm going to EJ first. Last year, all the talk that our hardcore heads like us was talking about was the possibility of Nicholas Walters fighting Vasyl Lomachenko. It did happen in 2015. Word broke this week that it finally will happen now, November, on HBO. My problem is, while I'm glad the fight is happening finally, my worry is I don't like the fact that Walters was basically forced to lay on the shelf for a year in order for this fight to happen.
Yes.
So I wonder if he's going to be at his best for this fight. Your thoughts about it?
That's my point. There you go. That's what boxing is about. Even Girl alluded to Klitschko and timing. I'm alluding to this one and timing. That's why the fight's happening. They know when they're going to take Waters when he just knocked out Donnie, D'Artagnan, and he had a draw and lackluster, so that must have messed with his confidence. It wasn't a draw. He won the fight hands down. And
I agree.
weight issues. course they want, of course, man. But they might have set themselves a trap. I hope Waters knocks his ass out. I like Vassie, so I can't just hate on Vassie and say I want Vassie to get knocked out. But I you know, for the sake of the organization trying to fuck over Waters, I feel that, but it's not. I have anything against Vassie. I like Vassie, man. Vassie can. Vasilio's nice, man. You know, he's really good boxer. He's good for boxing. You know what I mean? But like, just for the sake of, they try to shit on Waters and they're trying to use Vassie. Vassie's at a common point. Vassie's been active, and obviously they're catching Waters when Waters is slipping. You know what I mean? And you know, they just treat him like garbage. That's, you know, Waters knocks him out and upsets the whole thing. But you know how these things are. They've obviously made the fight, and they you know, when they make these sort of fights, yeah, they have words in the camp. What's he doing? What's he up to? Oh, he hasn't trained for months. Are you sure? He definitely hasn't sure? Nah, he hasn't trained. All right, let's make the fight. That's how it works, man. That's what this is going on. That's exactly what's going on, and that's why these fights happen. Fights should happen when both of them was in the prime. But if it happened in the prime, you would have gave Waters the edge. And now because Vassie's active, Vassie is catching Waters at the best time for him to, wouldn't even say an upset, just to get the win and to take Waters' names and to move on. So I'm happy the fight's happening. But again, matchmaking and timing is everything in boxing. And if Waters reaches into his bag of tricks and pulls at the upset, I'll be happy, because, you know, end of the day, they shouldn't have took liberties. But if Vassie wins, hey, I can't know. Hard for me to hate on Vassie, but but it depends on the manner of win. But if Vassie wins and beats Waters convincingly, I can't complain. So I can't hate in it. But so that's my take.
Yeah, and the thing is, just to add on what you're saying, some will say, well, why was Walters out on the shelf? He could have done something. Well, when you look at Walters, the reason he's been out so long is not entirely his fault. It's entirely with the situation he is and is promoting the contract. So again, I'm happy the fight is being made. I'll go to you, Scorsese. I'm going to give you time, the opportunity to burn here. But to EJ's point, the timing, the fact that Walters has had a year off, it'll be over the year by the time this fight is happening. I wonder if Walters will be at his level best for this fight.
We got a sticky situation, because this is true. An excuse can be a fact, and a fact can be an excuse. And we looking at a real fact that this man has took, I think, 2 yearly breaks, like 2-year breaks in between when he knocked out on there. Every time he got a shot to do something, it was a sickness, it was a weight, and then they just pulled him himself. It's like, oh my, you know, like. But I looked past that. When I first heard this fight was done, I immediately thought about being on the show, and I said, when I'm asked about it, I'm just going. I was like, my thought was profanity, all profanity, happy profanity, like just going at it. And I am still happy about it. Boxing has the quick giving us, like, here you go, but here's a side of bad food though. With it, like, here's the meat, but here's a side of macaroni and cheese cooked with spoiled cheese. They gotta quit giving that. Go ahead and get that full platter on there and make everything how it need to be. I don't understand.
But yet they're giving us that fake boxing Kraft macaroni and cheese with the box instead of the real thing.
Hey, you guys making me hungry, man. You guys are making me hungry.
Hey, I mean, give us one that just do it the right way. And I mean, I'm no longer calling Lomo Hotek or Homachenko or nothing. He got stones to fight Walters anytime. And I went back and I made sure I had all the facts done on it. Walters didn't. He said the $1 million point to the Ring TV. But then after that, he said, when they said no on that, he basically highballed them, I guess you could say, like, do you got it? If you got it, I'll take it. If you don't, 750,000, 800, like around Lomo, I take that. And they said no to that as well. And like I always told people, fair deals make fight 50-50 out. Nothing separates them. Not numbers, not the gate, not who they beating. Is equal to me with Lomachenko probably not having the biggest win at Donaire, but all that small amount of fights, and he got, you know, a lot of B plus or Salido, even though I lost on that. He got some hype there. So 50-50. Make the fight. And if it took HBO having Canelo to sit on the bench because his hand, if that's what I need to get every September that he fights, to get fights like this in the back end, I wish Canelo no harm. But that hand or that minor injury can happen every year if it takes them to get stuff done like this. And I truly mean that, because he was gonna fight nobody. Like, and now we getting to November riddled with fights. I'm not gonna make no excuses for Walters. I'm just gonna say, look, I don't know if he's been training. I don't know what's been going on there. All I can pray is he's been all I can pray and ask and hope that's been going on is like Andre Ward when he was out. The man stayed in the gym, but regardless, a gym ain't a fight. And the confidence taken from him from the robbery with Sosa, the Ring TV interview, it's all in there. He's saying, you know, I don't feel like I can win decisions on HBO no more. I beat him clearly. And who the hell is Jason Sosa to rob me? So Lomachenko, if I fight Lomachenko, of course I'm getting robbed if I don't knock him out. But that's telling me he got all the motivation in there and go fight the fight the way he needs to fight it. He don't need to go in there and think, let me outbox this boxer just because he's on that stage. Let me show what I can do. No, you know the judges are probably not here for you. And I'm not saying it's Lomachenko's fault. I'm saying because Walters has a stigma to him that, you know, that's stinky for promoters, I guess, for Bob Arum, I guess, or for the network, I guess. So he knows he got to go knock him out, and he going to bring a fight. And like I said, Lomachenko is not a hoe. We got a 50-50 level fight. One black eye, the other one is cute, and they got a contact in it. But they got to start putting the contacts both eyes, take the damn eye patches off, and give us the full package, man. They got to.
Daniel, your thoughts on this?
Ooh. Well, first thought I'm going to put in is how interesting that as soon as Warriors Boxing legitimately completely now severs their ties with Al Heyman, that suddenly Walters can come to the table and make a fight that we were supposed to get, what, 7 months ago? So that's the first interesting part. The second interesting part of it, though, is going to be watching Walters take off that fatigue going into it, because Lomachenko's had the benefit of at least having under his belt while this situation's been happening. Walters has not, and it's true. The gym is not the same as a fight. But Walters, like I said, he does, I think, have the height advantage. I think he also has the reach advantage. And you know he's definitely going to try to come in with a chip on his shoulder. It's true. He knows that Lomachenko is right now one of the darlings at HBO. And he knows he needs to put on a show in order to get back some of the light that he lost out of that Donaire fight. So it's going to be an interesting fight. Like I said, it's going to happen the weekend immediately after the Kovalev-Ward fight. And I know we're going to talk about more later on, Mike, but that HBO is just shaped up to have a hell of an end of a year.
Gail?
I agree. I think Sweet Science Santa is giving us all lots of presents for putting up with some pretty rough patches this year in boxing. You know, we have been good little boxing head girls and boys, and we're finally getting some rewards. You know, and there are other fights in the pipeline that we're seeing bubble up that we're starting to talk about. However, as happy as I am to see this fight, I'm thrilled to see it. It's yet again a fight we should have seen long before now. You know, I'm thinking back to watching Walters absolutely take Nonito Donaire apart at StubHub Center, much to my shock. And that is nearly 2 years ago. 2 freaking years. There is no way we should have been waiting for Walters and Lomachenko to get it on for 2 years. Having said that, having had my bitch there, I'm glad they are. I'm glad they're finally getting it together. I am concerned, though, that Walters has, you know, I don't think his performance has improved with age. He should have got right back in there. This happens to so many guys. They're on an upward trajectory. If something makes them nervous, or they don't think they're quite ready, or they want to maximize their opportunity, you know, and they, you know, whether it's their promoters, whether it's them, you know, whether it's a billion people whispering in their ear, you know, they just screw around and they screw it up. And that's what I'm concerned about, because, you know, his last 2 fights were not exactly barn burners. Nothing compared to his performance against Donaire or Darchinian for that matter. So, you know, let's see if he can get his act together, you know, get that fire back in him, and put on a good fight. You know, very interesting. I see that the venue for this fight is the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. Not exactly one of the big venues. In fact, the Cosmopolitan is usually used for Friday night events, and especially on a long fight weekend. They'll put, you know, sort of second-tier fights at the Cosmopolitan on a Friday night when you've got a big pay-per-view on Saturday. So kind of interesting that this fight is there on a Saturday. I couldn't tell you offhand what the capacity is, but
4,000.
It's how much?
I think Aaron said 4,000.
4? Boy, that would maybe be generous, but you know what? I'll let that stand. 4,000. But anyway, 4,000 for this fight, and that's sort of a, you know, it's big question mark floating around above my head right now.
They could fight in Kmart. I'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, those of us hardcore, we're thrilled to see it. We love it. You know, the sad thing is that the casual fan who, you know, might have got wind of how excited everybody was about this, you know, has forgotten this. So, well, and the other interesting thing is 2 years ago, Walters would have clearly been the A side. He isn't now.
I wanted to touch on what Daniel said. He said Warriors boxing moving from the table. Well, not really touch on it. Just want to say that. Bob Allen has told us that Nicholas Walters is getting more money than the $550,000 that they offered at first, and I don't know if that's Lomachenko level money, or he said a bit more money. So 2 questions for any media that might be listening that might be able to get the interview. We want to know, has he been in training previously? At least training. We know no fights, and we want to know the purse talk too. That's fun to know.
That's interesting. That's interesting because all the saga back and forth when this bout was being proposed earlier this year about the money that was offered Walters, and people complaining, well, he asking for too much and all this. It will be interesting the split in terms of this fight.
One more. Bob Arum also said out his own mouth, I agree, Walters deserves more money. So anybody that had that dispute didn't know that. Let's just get that information out. Let's get to the fight, and if it's close, do the shit again right away.
Yeah, and what if Walters ends up beating Lomachenko, especially if he stops him? Oh boy.
If you get stopped like that, I don't think Lomachenko or his people within 10 fights, I think they're gonna pull him back some. No doubt. That's 2 losses in 10 fights.
Loma is the favorite coming in, no doubt about it. But man, let Walters get the upset here. Oh boy, all the complaints all the issues that he was making prior, purely justified. Let's move on. Go ahead, Daniel, right quick.
Well, I was going to say, like, it's not even those issues. It's a lot of things particularly when it comes to Lomachenko, about a lot of people do genuinely feel that it's a lot of unearned arrogance on his part to assume that, well, it takes an amount of unearned arrogance to demand of a promoter that the first fight you ever get and your promotional contract has to be a title fight. That's, like I said, unearned arrogance in itself. But
we're talking about the same Vasyl Lomachenko who wanted a world title in his second title fight. So what's the difference?
No, that's what I mean.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Walter. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I heard you say Walter.
No.
So I'm sorry.
No, I went with the whole situation. It's with Lomachenko's a little bit under an arrogance.
Okay.
Goes into it. So a lot of it would feel like if Walter tends to win, it's a lot of that karma of under an arrogance coming back to bite you.
Yeah. Okay. Now I get you. So yeah, I want this fight. I'm looking forward to this fight. But again, I'm worried about that layoff, man. I'm worried about that layoff. I really am. Let's move on and start previewing what's happening this weekend. Want to go with a light heavyweight bout. Jürgen Brähmer fighting Nathan Cleverly. I'll go to you, Daniel, and then go to you, EJ. Look, this fight, at least 4 or 5 years in the making, is finally happening. Fight is happening in Germany. Quickly, your thoughts on it. First, Daniel, and then you, EJ.
It's been a long 5-year wait, hasn't it? They were supposed to literally fight 5 years ago. And I'm still glad about the fight because, like I said, you put Nathan Cleverly in the ring, he's gonna bang. He is going to bang. So that's entertainment in itself. And Brähmer's been one of these little dark horses in the light heavyweight division. And he currently holds the WBA regular belt for that title. So this is in turn to become either Sergey Kovalev or Andre Ward's mandatory in the next fight. What's going to be interesting when it comes into this fight to me is if Cleverly wins, can he pull off the whole full redemption angle here? Because people have to remember, Kovalev blew up at the expense of Nathan Cleverly in London. So it would be very proper after he worked his way back for him to try to get his chance if Kovalev beats Ward at a full-blown redemption. That to me is probably the most interesting thing about this fight, other than the fact that it took a Maypac to make, pretty much now. A Maypac, I'm calling it now.
EJ, your thoughts on this? How much of a shot do you give Cleverly? I give him a more than decent shot here to win. I'll meet you, Mikey, around, EJ. I see. I don't think EJ's where he's over in the UK. He might fell asleep on us. So I'll go to you, Scorsese and Gail. Your thoughts on this bout between Cleverly and Jürgen Brähmer? Gail, Scorsese.
You know, it'd be nice to see Cleverly win. I like Cleverly. I like his attitude. He gives it what he's got. He could shore up, a few lost belts in Great Britain. Yeah. And I do think he'll give it his best shot. But, man, it is really, without a stoppage, we all know how hard it is to win at home. And I think it's a very uphill battle for him. I really do. He's going to have, he can't just have enough of a performance to win. It has to be a slam dunk win.
You're right, but the thing is, Brähmer is 37. And I think we could see a situation where he gets old one night.
He could. And that would hand Cleverly, hopefully a little bit of an edge toward that slam dunk win that he would need. But we all know if it goes to the cards, we know what happens.
Your thoughts, Scorsese.
I think he's out for the moment.
Okay. So let's move on then, and talk about rising heavyweight contender Joseph Parker, mandatory for Joshua's belt, who we mentioned earlier. He's fighting was essentially another tune-up fight in New Zealand against Dimitrenko, and I'll just open up for anybody here. How much of a chance do you give Dimitrenko here against the fast-rising Joseph Parker? This is for anybody who wants to respond.
Not much. Not much, because while Parker's still technically very, very raw, there's still a lot of potential in there. And like I said, I love body punchers, and Joseph Parker's is arguably one of the best body punchers right now in the heavyweight division. So I can see him working his craft and doing a little bit more to win this fight, because what I want to see mainly is I want to see if he learned anything from the Carlos Takam fight. Because the Takam fight is the fight where Joseph Parker got pushed to at that time was his limit and came out on top. We have to see Dimitrenko can do something somewhat similar to it. The problem is, though, we need to see how focused is Joseph Parker going to be, because, like we just mentioned, there's this whole Tyson Fury situation has to loom over his head. He's purposely been completely off the grid on social media because of this. We have to see mainly how mentally he's going to be prepared, knowing that maybe he may not have a title shot for the IBF. He may be having a much easier title shot for the WBO looming. And we've seen situations like that where young prospects are one step away from getting that coveted belt and wound up being completely derailed. Amir Imam, anyone. We all thought he was going to beat Granados. I think Granados took the fight out of him. Because Amir Imam was already thinking ahead to Victor Posto. We just have to see now if Joseph Parker does the same. If not, it's a good fight. I don't give Dimitrenko much of a shot. But what's next is going to be what's going to be interesting thing for Joseph Parker, because I think this is his swan song for the New Zealand. I think he's going to move all his operations to Las Vegas now, because he knows to get the title belts, he needs to come to the U.S.
Gail, Scorsese, EJ.
Yeah, this is going to be Parker's victory lap, essentially, in New Zealand. Dimitrenko's going to give him a nice, big, squishy target to hit those body shots. Dimitrenko's the one, having to travel. Parker's getting a last good dose of home cooking. All the cards are aligned for that. And, it's a reasonable fight. It's a decent fight for the WBO Oriental heavyweight title. But, yeah, Parker is now going to do the smart thing, the right thing for an ambitious young guy. He's going to get himself to Vegas. He's going to get himself in the mix. He's going to, if he is smart, he is going to follow the game plan and the template laid out by Triple G's team to build the fan base and, move forward. And it should be a lot of fun to watch.
Scorsese, are you back?
I think he's
dealing
probably
with
making
all
a
these
sandwich.
times. We're dealing with all these time zones, and it's an international show.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Since that being the case, I think I'm gonna start shutting the show down here. Starting with you, Gail, ladies first. For folks who want to talk boxing, Dancing with the Stars, and whatnot. Let the folks know where they can find you.
You can find me at Communities Digital News, which is COM, C-O-M-M, Digi, D-I-G-I News, comdiginews.com. On Twitter, if there's something going on in the world and people are chattering, I'm generally in that mix, and that is PR Pro San Diego, PR Pro San Diego. And my PS on the show is we are hearing late reports that Orlando Salido Takashi Miura is set for the Forum in Los Angeles,
Nice.
HBO, December 17th. December 17th, baby. And it's going to be a triple header, HBO, and one of the fights on the undercard that's being discussed is the name that just came up seconds ago, Amir Imam against Antonio Orozco. Interesting fight.
Yep.
Yeah, with the winner potentially getting Terrence Crawford.
I see you. I see you back, Scorsese.
Yeah.
Quick word.
I know
on,
we're doing the closing.
Quick word on.
I know
Quick word on Parker and Dimitrenko, as well as the Brahmer Nathan Cleverly fight.
Can I adjust it to something I missed? A quick word on Crolla.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was hot. I missed Crolla. I was busy before that, but Crolla, he got justice. Look, I know everybody think I got a fancy opinion about what happened in the fight with the other guy from Venezuela. He fought. His name is skipping me right now. What's that man's name? Barroso. I have some real opinions about what happened in that fight. And what happened in the second round of this fight leads me to believe that my opinion is probably not that far off. And I already thought it wasn't. But this man was basically expecting a ref to win him this fight. He was expecting judges. He was the judges or the ref. Either one win me this fight. And his attitude in there, it made me really dislike him. He went from $1 million Crolla to what I seen as crybaby Crolla. I mean, probably during the fight, I'm screaming the same thing he's saying. How you in here refereeing your own damn fight? How you doing it? And it's so crazy when the things start going this way. It was all cool, no more complaints. I think I'm finna knock him down with one of these body shots. Maybe I am good. Maybe we didn't have to do that to Barroso. Then the tables turned. Jorge shows he's absolutely on another level. Even though he's standing there fighting him, he made it harder than he could have, I believe. Tables turned 7-8 round. This dude is at it again. Tears for the ref. Every time it wasn't going his way, tears for the ref. I said, you know what? It's like you're used to getting something. And when you make a person used to getting something, it sort of felt like he was now expecting it. He was now expecting somebody to do it for him. So my opinions on that Barroso fight, I kind of felt like, you kind of validated them for me right there. I know they might be off to a lot of people, but I'm so glad they got what they deserved over there. Eddie Hearn, he deserved to lose that champion now. He deserved it. He still ain't lost Kell Brook for whatever reason. They gave him 5 extra days, but he deserved to lose that champion. And that guy, the rematch? For what? For what? In that stacked division. But I know it's closing, so if you want to follow me on my Twitter at Milo Place, all one word. Don't have to look it up on my Twitter no more because my picture said, and that's why I had to look to find it. And my YouTube is Low Place, 2 words, and then space hashtag MLPF.
Okay, Daniel Carpio, the Inscriber, for folks who want to talk the sweet science, for folks who want to talk the NBA, specifically the Miami Heat. Let the folks know where they can find you.
All right, folks, you can find me on Twitter at Raucus99. Like I said, an unforeseen and tragic turn of events, unfortunately, prevented me from doing that little preview of Miami Heat training camp. I said, rest in peace, Jose Fernandez.
Indeed.
Yeah, that was, man. You know how you feel like when you're far away from the city you grew up in, but you still feel the pain? That's what it feels like. I'm in Long Island, New York. I can still feel that pain that's going to run out in Little Havana because of this. But we're here to talk boxing, folks. Like I said, me on Sunday, me, Joe, Francis. We talk, like I say, whatever happens in this week's science. So we're obviously going to talk Parker. We're going to talk the Bremer fight. And like I said, maybe by then we'll probably know what's actually going to shape up with this whole Tyson Fury situation.
Indeed. EJ Boxing Live, if you're still there, if you're still awake, for folks who want to talk the sweet science, let the folks know where they can find you. Okay, I think he's not there. Probably asleep. Now fell asleep. So I'll do it for him. For folks who want to talk EJ boxing with EJ Boxing Live, he's all over the place. He's all over the YTBC. You just go to EJ Boxing Live on YouTube, EJ Boxing Live on Facebook. He has an excellent boxing page there. You can also go to EJ Boxing Live on Twitter, all one word. So if you want to talk to Sweet Science or anything else with him, just go to EJ Boxing Live. I want to thank Joe from For Boxing who joined us as well. We want to check him out, as well as his wife Frances, who again I got to thank them for doing that profile on me a couple of weeks ago. Just go to For Boxing News at For Boxing News, all one word. forboxingnews.com. Just check them out there. If you want to talk boxing or anything else, music, anything else with me, you know what it is. Brother JR on Twitter at Brother JR76. Again, if you want to find out anything Pound for Pound Boxing Report, please go to the blog page. P4pboxingreport.wordpress.com is the link. Again, if you go to the right of the page, you'll find links to find us all over social media, all over the interwebs, links to find the Facebook page, the G Plus page, the Tumblr page, where to find us on Twitter, where to find the show on YouTube, where to listen to us via Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, iTunes, Player.fm, where to check out the RSS feed as well as the email address, which is p4pboxingrpt@gmail.com. On the next episode, we will do a recap of Parker Dimitrenko. We will do a recap of Brahmer, Nathan Cleverly, and we would do a preview of Juan Francisco Estrada. We mentioned him earlier in the show when talking about Donnie Nietes. Estrada, for those who don't know, is leaving 112, moving up to 115. He's going to make his debut at 115. In a couple of weeks, we'll do a preview of that. And we'll talk about anything boxing related in the interim. So for Gail Falcanthala Communities Digital News, for Joe for Boxing, for Scorsese, EJ Boxing Live, Daniel Carpenter of the Inscriber. I'm your host, Michael. This has been episode 141 of Pound for Pound Boxing Report. Everybody have a good evening, good night.
Yeah, let's hope we're talking about the Gail Jack next week too.
I should have mentioned that. Just send me a reminder. Send me a reminder. We got to talk about that, about Dude Jack and Eddie Stopper Muhammad. Yeah, they broke up. Trainer Eddie Stopper Muhammad up by Dude Jack. So they
say the Gail is finalized, but they haven't released it. Eddie Hearn. So hopefully we're talking about this done next week. Shit, that's even better for us.
So yeah. So we will talk about that as well. Again, everybody, episode 141, the Pound for Pound Boxing Report. Everybody have a good evening. Good night.
Good night.